Hey everyone, welcome back to the Sexytime podcast. I'm Belle.
And I'm Ava. Today's episode is spicy, but not for the reasons you think. What's the reason? Well, yeah, it's talaga. A script lang siya.
No, today we are diving into a very
My sister's favorite topic.
sensitive topic, which is, drumroll please, money.
What again?
No, we're diving into the topic of money or your financial status. Being single or with a couple or
How you use your money.
So we are diving into money, which is supposed to be the sixth love language. At least it's mine.
It's your only love language at this point.
Exactly. We have a money mindset and lifestyle coach today with us. Her name is Nik Madriñan.
Hi, Nick. Welcome to the podcast.
Hello. Hi, Belle. Hi, Amba. I'm so excited to be here and dive into the spicy conversation.
Yeah. When you say spicy, I think of pancit canton. I just want to say.
Chili mate.
Yeah.
That's not an I wouldn't mind some. It looks delicious. Random place. But thank you for joining us today because money has been a topic that my sister has been wanting to talk about. Not only because she loves money, but it's really a topic that needs to be discussed in the dynamic of a couple. You know, of course, by yourself, even like as a single person, you need to figure out how to like juggle your money and like be able to, how do you say, budget your money, but it also plays a big role in your relationship. So first, before we get into it, how did you get into money, or how do you call it, money managing, mindset coaching?
Yeah. Well, first, we all have to love money in order to use it to our advantage. So absolutely. And first, like, it's so important that you have this conversation because, as you said, it starts with you being single so that you are ready to dive into all of the money conversations when you are a couple. And I've seen that, like, as to answer your question, like when I got into this, my journey actually is a bit unique in a way that I'd been a shopaholic before I dove into coaching. And I feel like that's what made my story special because a lot of people think, ako din, like, matiyo ko mapudod, I shop so much, I have a shopping addiction, and it's like, I also want to be financially confident. I also want to achieve all of my financial goals. And so that's where I started, like, sharing how I was able to move from being a shopaholic to achieving my first million. And I believe that if I was able to do it, if I was from that place na, you know, I bought so many makeup.
What kind of shopaholic are you? Like, my sister is the type that she justifies everything. Like, it's a need. Like, I'm just curious for people can relate because I have a lot of friends that vary.
If you were in the 2016 like beauty era, that's where like I was watching so many beauty tutorials every day.
Yeah.
That there was a time that I bought like 30,000 worth of makeup in a month. Well,
By Harley.
to justify, I was in the US. I was like, Sephora. When I shared my journey, that a lot of people related to it. Na first they thought na, oh, it's just I need to deprive myself in order to get better financially. But I realized in my journey that every money problem is just a symptom of a deeper underlying root problem. There's usually like a deeper life problem that you are escaping from, and you use shopping as a coping mechanism. I was like, okay, so when that hit me, I was in a quarter life crisis. I was like, oh, so I was using shopping as a way to escape from, I don't know what to do with my life. I'm having an identity crisis. Do I still want my career? What am I doing with my life? And so that's when I realized like how your money mindset directly shapes your spending behaviors. So that's how I got into like this mission of how important it is for you to reprogram your mindset around money because that's what changes your habits.
Sometimes do you feel like when you don't have any more money, you're like, oh my God, wala na mo pera, and then you buy more stuff? Yeah. I'm always like that. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, okay, I guess I'm just going to get to make my... But you're right. It's a coping mechanism that we end up...
I never saw it like that. What interesting that it's a coping mechanism. Sometimes when you're bored, you do stuff to spend money. Like I was like, I think I'm gonna like reupholster my couch.
Yeah.
I was like, your couches are mine. That's so true. Yeah. Parang may magawa.
Yeah. What do they say about the wealthy people? They work so hard not to spend their money. Pero yung mga hindi masyado, all we want to do is like, let's spend it.
Konting-konti na.
Once we get, we're like, gastos na kaagad.
Hello, before we even get it, gastos na kaagad, diba?
Credit card debt.
Yeah, actually, I've seen like two spectrums, like doing this kind of work with my clients. I had clients who are like, I grew up so privileged. I grew up so spoiled. So when I started earning my own money, it's like, I just want to spend it all.
Yeah.
Because I grew up that way na, oh, what you want, you get. And then I have another spectrum of clients naman na it was hard growing up. And so when I started earning my own money, it's like, finally, I'm gonna spend it because I wasn't like prioritized growing up. Getting what I want.
May mga hugot. I'm
Yeah.
curious to know about you actually. Like, you started earning money quite young.
Yeah.
Like, diba? It's not common. When did you start earning money?
18.
Yeah, diba? At 18. How did you handle that?
Well, mom was super duper strict. She had my money for most part, which I'm thankful for because I would think at 18, you just get dragged. I mean, like,
Shots for everyone.
yeah, on me. So my mom kept like 90% of my money. I remember so clearly, I really wanted an iPod. Kahalabas na iPod. And it was like thick 20,000. And she was like, there's no way you're gonna buy that. That's so expensive. Yeah, and I did my first good ad. I don't know, billboard, and I was paid, and para I felt like, oh my god, yaman ko na. And then I couldn't even buy that. So
And I think this is coming from her reputation in school, by the way. And an assumption, my friends all know, it's like, your sister used to come around buddy us for coins. So, like, that's a big shit.
yeah. No, so I think first off, we don't learn how to invest and how to save. In a school, we don't. I think the most that we learned was probably getting an allowance and thinking, gosh, afford ko ba yung pizzas and shawma at Pizza Hut?
How many
Diba?
times can I get?
Exactly. But when we're in, I guess, high school, even in grade school, they don't teach us the value of it.
Yeah.
Which you learn intrinsically from your parents, depending on which parent is. Because our dad was a spender naman. When he had fun, he would be like, okay, you want a drum set? Sige, get this. That's why I love drum with him. Drum set. You know what I mean? Like, to both ends of the spectrum. So yeah, at a young age, I did have a lot of money, but thankfully my mom took it from me. She put it aside. She made her own financial goals for me, which I was, I guess, no. I was like, I wanted control of my own money, but I'm happy that she had it. Yeah.
I think it makes sense.
But that age kasi, 18, 19, 20, 21, that's a time where you want to have designer bags and you spend on so much. And I remember my mom would always be like, your own name is enough. I'm like, it's really not. Chanel is better than my own name. And I really wanted to spend a lot of my TF on like a beautiful Chanel bag because all my peers had one in terms of like, in the industry. And she didn't allow me.
So do you wish she didn't at this point?
Actually, I don't. Okay, because I do have some like bags and it's just sitting in the floor.
That's true, actually. It's here in my storage.
Yeah.
Anyway, kunin mo na. Anyway, just jumping off what she had to say. She said na parang parents are the first ones supposed to teach you. What are some things that you can advise like the listeners about, like us parents? As early as what age can you start teaching kids about money?
This is so important because when I like see with the guys of, for example, why they're impulsively buying, why they're hoarding savings, or why they're scared to take risks with their money, it's all rooted in what they grew up with, what they saw in their parents. Like,
It's so true.
it's so like eye-opening. Also, it makes you think also, like, especially when you have your own kids, like, what am I teaching them? What am I showing them as an example? Because, for example, naman for me, my mom is kind of more like the shopping spender kind of person. Like, whenever I want something, like, buy books. Para,
Oh my gosh. That's
yeah, it's like, which one? Buy both. But my dad naman,
it. Your mom.
I need to hang with her. It's like, shout out to my mom because
Yeah.
she's that mom. She's my
I
size
will.
also. She
Yeah.
always approves my outfit.
Okay, I can already imagine.
I can imagine her. And then my dad naman is always the practical one. It's like, I remember this story na when we were in the groceries, and then, when you're like a teenager, you need like your feminine care and like your lotion.
Yeah.
And my dad's like, do you really need that? And then my mom had to like help me. It's like, yeah, like she's growing up, and so like those kinds of dynamics. That's why I love to have this conversation about like as couples pa lang, like how can we have those healthy money habits and conversations so that your kids will see that, hey, like it's okay to talk about money, because I've also seen it with my clients. My parents never talked about money, so they're scared.
So in front of you.
Alam mo, money is adjacent to sex, the topic of sex in our culture.
Yeah.
Nobody talks about it. It's like, that's, don't ask about salaries. My boyfriend at that time, si Adrian, he was asking a friend's salary. I'm like, offended. Do that. Like, you don't ask people how much they make. And he's like, why? Because in France, so they have their culture is very socialism. It's like, oh, how much you make? Oh, I make this, ganito, I spend it. They're so open, whereas us, it's so taboo.
I literally just had this conversation with my best friend 2 days ago. She said her husband, she's married to a guy from the US, is so surprised how people are, amongst friends, never talk about it. And he was saying like, you know, if you knew how much this friend was making, it could also motivate you to know like, oh, I can make this much doing that. So you're right. It should be something people should talk about. So do you mean in a household, parents should actually talk to their husband about, but in
to their
what way?
kids.
In front of your kids? In what way?
It could go both ways. Like, for example, maybe you talk so much about money that it created chaos.
Oh,
And then
okay.
the result is your child is like, I don't want to deal
Scared.
with my money because
Yeah.
it only causes chaos. Like, I have a client like that who's like, just want to spend all of my money because growing up, I saw that money just created chaos in my family.
Oh my gosh.
So I was like, I'd rather just spend it. I don't want to see big amounts of money. I'm scared. And then there's another thing naman of like someone who's, let's say, she has so many degrees. Like she's gotten like so many like accolades in her career. But then she's like, I feel so incompetent with money because my parents never told me
Taught
how
me.
to manage it. They just
yeah.
gave it. But like, how do I feel empowered to use it in my way?
Yeah.
So
It's true, and you can be earning so much, millions, but if you're spending more than what you earn,
yes.
then I don't think you're necessarily smart with money, right?
That's
You're-
what mom says. She's like, doesn't matter how much you earn. It matters how much you save.
Yeah, so you can tell our mom talked to us a lot about money.
Which I
because-
love.
Yeah,
Like, I love
because
that.
she's like exactly what you said. And also, when I ask her, for example, like, what do you think is more important? I guess because she was a single mom in a way.
Yeah.
Like, my mom and my dad split, right? So my dad was helping her, but my mom was like the sole provider of all three. So her mindset on money was you need to save for the future. Because in her industry, it's feast or famine. Sometimes you're doing so many movies, sometimes wala.
Yeah.
So that's always was our mindset. We need to save,
But
save.
coming from that, it makes me think like I admittedly don't handle money well. Like my husband and I, that's our number one. I'd say like we get along in every sense, but he's like the one thing I worry about is the way you handle your money
Why?
because he thinks that I don't think hard before I buy things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always find a way. Also, like I need this. Similar. I think we're quite similar, but you just have more money, so you can buy more. You know,
Instant gratification.
Yeah, that's.
But
one
why
thing.
are men so much more like tight and disciplined with money?
Baka the men we see? Ano
Oh,
ka
it's
ba?
different. Me and my husband were
Yeah.
opposite.
Talaga.
what?
He's the spender.
Okay,
I'm the
okay.
one who's like, wait, let's talk about this
Yeah, because
more.
di ba girls care sometimes are the ones that budget.
Yeah, like
Not
it's
for
so
the house?
different. Like my parents, my dad was the one who like became more of the manager of like the finances.
Okay.
But then for me and my husband, like I took that lead.
Okay.
Because I was like, you know what, if kung pera natin nasa bank account mo, baka bumili ka na ng Rolex, you know?
Yeah.
So
Because when you see,
so it really depends on, like, for example, the conversation you have with your partner. I really believe at least one of you has to take the initiative of
Yeah.
the money conversation, or else it will always be just like something that you brush over and not deal with.
okay,
At
so
what stage in the relationship though?
no, wait, you're jumping ahead.
Sorry, I got excited.
No, let's dial it back. So a topic that we had was one of my friends, she had coffee with me and she said, what do I do? Because I'm dating this guy. I really like him. He's parang half French, Canadian, and something else. But he has a bit of Filipino. And we've been dating for 5-6 months. He's a really good guy. Parang really green flag. But recently, he asked me if I could split the bill with him or if we could take turns paying for dinner. Because they go out, siguro, let's say, in 1 week, 3 to 4 times a week. Because you're young, diba?
Yeah.
Let's say 3 times. So, he'll pay for dinner on Tuesday, but on Thursday, you got the bill.
Yeah.
My friend, she's very Filipina, diba? You know, we like to be courted. We like galante. We want somebody who pays for the check and picks it up.
Yeah.
So she was so turned off by this because she's like, wait, you're taking me out and you want me to pay. And then so I didn't know the right advice to give her, admittedly. I was like, well, for one thing, the guy said, because I want us, I'm trying to save and I'm trying to make my financial status isn't
Where I want it to be.
where I want it to be, or like he doesn't have that much money, in short.
Yeah.
I can't afford to take you out 2 to 3 times a week.
Well, how old are they?
28. So they're just starting out. But on her side naman, it's like, wait, pero you asked me out, diba? Why are you asking me out if you can't pala afford it? Parang ganon.
Yes.
So I didn't know what the right thing was to tell her. I said maybe it's also a cultural barrier. I like that he was truthful. But she was just like
Turned off.
Yeah. So what is your advice to somebody who's asking for help?
I want to clarify, like, at what stage are they? Like, are they
5
exclusive,
months dating.
exclusively?
Parang it's in that
Or it's more of like exploring.
exploring. Yeah. I don't think they're dating anyone else, but it's just the start of their dating.
Okay.
Because I feel okay, let's explore both sides, because I feel like first, as you said, it's good that the guy became transparent as early as now, because what if he did end up like paying for everything, and in the end, like after 1 year, like, oh, by the way, I'm in debt.
Oh,
So
yeah.
like because I like covered all of our expenses.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's good that as early as now he's transparent, and then at the same time for the girl, it's also good that right now maybe they're not a match in terms of financial expectations, and that's fine, because this is already like a sign already of like how will you be together when you're like husband and wife already. Because even for me, like with my husband now, in our early stages, those were already like the telltale sign. Okay, like this is the type of person that financially we will align. So maybe it's a good thing na 6 months pa lang, she's already seeing, oh, maybe this is not how I'd like to be courted,
Yeah.
you know? And then maybe it's just a mismatch, possibly.
And then what does that mean? So she shouldn't date him because it's a mismatch? Or it just reminds me of, the movie Joy Luck Club, when the husband puts the bill in the middle of the fridge, tapos parang split sila in half.
Oh my God.
And it's like 50-50. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
And like, I respect that if that's the choice that the couple wants to make, but that's not what I want.
No, we're talking a bit about this kanina. Parang
Yeah.
when in the start of a relationship, sure, a guy can treat you, but if you end up getting married, how does that work? Like, diba, your money is his money and he treats you, or you split it?
For
Parang-
me, it's his money is your money and your money is yours.
I know, a lot of girls say that. No, but truthfully, what is it?
I don't know. It depends on the couple. Ikaw.
Okay, so when I have like clients who have this kind of conflict of like, okay, who pays what? How do we delegate our bills? Especially for those who are like, we just got married.
Yeah.
I am overwhelmed right now of like, how are we gonna split the bills?
Yeah.
Our month-to-month bills, it's not even going on dates anymore like
Yeah.
it used to be. And so for me and my husband, we talked about that thoroughly before we got married. So that we're clear of the expectation. So I don't also build resentment of like, I hope you just pay for this, like, and also every month there's a clear delegation so that there's no like gaps of, oh, I wish you paid for this, or I wish you treated me this. At the start, as early as you can, is really having those conversations about the money dynamics. Because, for example, maybe one of you could be earning more. What if the girl still expects like, hey, I still want you to pay for the bills, my money's mine. And
Yeah.
that's fine. Like, if it works. Maybe the guy wants it that way because
Yeah.
we're traditional.
Yeah.
Or maybe for like me and my husband, we like most of the time like medyo 50-50 most of the time.
Yeah.
But then he's also like gift giver, love language type of person.
Okay.
He likes to treat me things na for me it's like it's fine, like you don't have to because it's not my love language. But then I gratefully receive it because I know he loves
To
like
give. To do
he
that.
loves to give.
Yeah.
And so those are the things that I believe like it's gonna make or break.
But
the
what are the
relationship.
types of questions or difficult conversations you have with the person you're dating? Is it, and when is it too soon? Because I know somebody who's been married with 3 kids for like 12 years, and she lost her job last year. And we had lunch. I mentioned this before, and she was saying how I don't have enough savings anymore. I asked my husband if he can parang cover some of my things, and she was like, "No, find a job." So she has this pressure. And I said, what, did you guys never talk about money? No. It's such a sensitive topic. And he also thinks that she should be contributing financially. And I'm like, you contributed 3 children. So I guess for somebody listening who's not yet married, probably starting the relationship, what are the 2 to 3 points of discussion that you can bring up when you're having a date or when you're having, coffee or massage or whatever with your partner?
I think the easy kind of way to get in without it being too serious is like, also, what are your financial goals in the next 6 to 12 months? That's an easy one because they could.
That's something you'd say, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a very easy one because it's not like, where do you invest? Like,
Yeah.
do you have debt? Like, that's scary, right? Versus like financial goals, because you already see the reaction of like, goals? Like,
Yeah, if
I
they
enjoy.
actually have goals.
Yeah.
yeah, or
And
like,
you're right. Maybe they need to set a goal. Maybe
Yeah.
they can do it together.
exactly. And that's something that will also set the foundation of like knowing that, hey, for example, I remember before me and my husband got married, like our mutual goal was like, let's have savings for travel. So like every month we would set aside savings for our travel fund.
That's a nice goal, yeah.
Yeah, and it was like a fun thing. And then the pandemic happened.
Oh my god.
So like, okay, we can travel. So what happened was our travel fund became our wedding fund.
Oh, that's perfect. At least.
So
a good
it's
shift.
exactly, and so for me, like, good thing we already established that, hey, let's mutually save together. And then I also got to paint a picture of like, how is he, like, is he able to commit to
Tama.
saving?
Yeah,
And
because
so-
it is a discipline.
Yeah, exactly. And so at the same time, I wasn't like, oh, we're saving for this. Like, you can't enjoy. Like, we can't go out on dates anymore. And so I feel like the starting point would really to understand each other's financial goals, so that you get to also know where the priorities of the person are, and then you get to decide for yourself, is that something that we are aligned with, something that we can work on together, because that's going to be the foundation when you eventually get married.
So I think like also another tip would probably be starting an account together, and you don't have to put a lot. Nobody's telling you
Like
to put,
that.
diba?
Yeah.
It can be like 1,000 a month. That's so small, but it's a constant deposit. And then don't look at that bank account.
Out of sight, out of mind. That's a good way to.
Because
Save.
sometimes when you get married, you have to have joint account. But some people don't do it, and it's not bad or it's not good. It's just, like you said, the way you deal with.
Yeah,
with
I mean,
money.
we do a joint account, but that's for like the everyday expenses. And then parang we both put money in there na lang.
Yeah. And then your shopping is yours, diba?
And then my shopping is me. Also because he's not the type to buy a lot of things. So parang if I'm using his money to buy stuff, he'll question me so much, which I don't want.
Yeah.
Diba? But there are also some friends, like a friend of mine, her husband, she doesn't work, so her husband gives her money. And he happily lets her buy what she wants. So it really depends on
That's
the
so
dynamic.
sweet. Because some husbands, they don't give you money freely. They want to be the one holding.
Is money like a form of power in that case?
For sure.
Yeah.
Money is definitely a form of power. It's power.
Would you say?
Because I feel like it's empowering to have money, to save money. And for example, maybe I'll share a little bit of my dynamic with my husband Marvin. I value the things he values, even though I don't understand it. You know,
Okay.
that's one thing. So for me, I was like, as long as we have a mutual savings commitment, like, hey, we put this amount to pay for our property, to pay for like our future like goals, and then the rest of your money source, so that
Okay.
I don't have to like nitpick, like, why are you buying that? Like, why are you buying that watch? Why are you buying that toy? Why are you collecting this?
Gets.
Because I don't understand it. But then for me, that's what makes him feel empowered. That's what makes him
Good.
feel like I'm enjoying the fruits of my labor. In the same way, he's also not gonna judge me of like, hey, I just bought like 100,000 coaching certification. He's like,
Yeah.
why did you spend on that? Like,
Yeah.
he doesn't also say that. So I feel like it's so good to feel empowered together with your money, and
Got
also feel empowered as an individual, so that that doesn't bleed into like resentment or negative feelings.
But it takes time to get there.
Yeah.
To trust
I
each
think
other.
so. I'm also learning, but that's really good advice, I think, because oftentimes I'm like, why did you buy that? I mean, you have those instances sometimes,
Yeah, my husband bought a bike that was quite expensive, and it's
or like your gift that you
storage.
buy him.
yeah. Oh no, ako when I buy him something expensive, are you out of your mind?
Yeah,
I
he
don't
goes
need
nuts.
another shirt, because he doesn't want to spend more than like 4,000 pesos on a shirt.
Is it because you're using both your money, or is it?
No, he just doesn't want to.
He doesn't.
My husband's very simple.
Yeah,
He doesn't like spending a lot of.
mine too.
But that can also be detrimental, because sometimes I'm like, can you just enjoy? If we're eating in a nice restaurant, he's like looking at the bill, he's stressed. I'm like, we need to know how to enjoy also sometimes. It's not like we do this a lot.
Wait, I just want to mention one of the things you always tell me. Like, it's like you need money to flow. Do you believe in that? Na parang you need to spend to make money. Do you believe in that?
I believe in the balance. It's like you can't just save and not enjoy. And you can't also just enjoy everything and bahala na in the future.
Okay.
So I feel like when you create that balance, you create a more sustainable way of managing your money.
And
so
what's
that
the balance? Is it spend less than you earn?
I'd say spend and save in line with your big milestones, so that it's so clear for you. So for example, okay, we saved for travel or wedding, let's say the turnover for property. And then at the same time, we can't be like, oh, wala, quick na lang tayo, tsaka sardinas lang tayo. We can't go out and go out to like nice restaurants. Like, we still made sure that we're not super tight in our month to month, because we also want to enjoy the present. And so I feel like it's so good that you have clear goals and milestones together, also as an individual, so that you don't feel like, oh, I'll just spend it all kasi I can enjoy now. And then you forget
Yeah.
about, wait, what about the long-term things that make me happy, that makes me fulfilled.
I want to add to what Ava was saying, because sometimes Ava has this mentality na parang, no, 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 I can't save it. No, 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 I have to save that. And me, I have a very different mentality where it's money is circular, right? So you need to help the economy and you need to help those people around you for it to come back to you, right? Rather than sometimes we try to cut costs and save on certain things. And I'm like, this is worth spending on because it's a quality. Parang what we're putting out there is what's going to come back to us, in short. So that's what I believe in, that money is circular. You need to let it flow. I'm not saying overspend, because you should know what your capability is in terms of spending. Does it make sense? One thing I'll share is my friends and I, we all have an app and we put our expenses there every day. And then minsan kasi you put on your GCash or your PayMaya. And then within the week, you're like, where did it? 3 days pa lang wala ka ng pera.
Oh,
Huh?
I hate that.
You buy small things, diba?
Yeah.
So one way to help you become more aware is tracking each expense. Even just a tip for your Grab driver, you need to put it on
Yeah.
a track. But it's tedious.
It's so
And sometimes I
tiring.
don't get to do it, honestly.
I never see you do it.
Yeah,
actually.
like for me,
My big
honestly,
ones.
like I tried that before and then it didn't work.
Yeah.
And like I don't track my expense daily anymore. Because it's like, especially when, like for example, you have kids. It's like, wait, let me put the diaper
Yeah.
and the payment to the yaya and like the driver. First, it's gonna be okay. And then in the long run, so like even when I like teach like to my clients and all of that, it's only gonna be sustainable when it feels empowering and exciting, not a burden.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And if it feels like a burden, I'll be like, I have to track this or I have to save this. I'm like, oh, like I feel so, like I'm sacrificing my happiness. When it feels that way, you're gonna fall out or you're gonna be demotivated. So that's why I love like advocating for balance, where like, hey, I know like this is just the amount I save and this is the amount I spend, and then that's it.
But sometimes, because what I'm saying is like people don't know how much they spend or
Yeah.
they save.
Yeah.
So sometimes, like if you try tracking your expenses, you'll realize, oh my gosh, this is my gastos on Grab. This is how
Grab
much I
pa
spend
lang.
on coffee. Nakakatatlong cups of coffee for Grab delivery pala ako every day. Diba? How much is coffee now? It's 200,
200.
300 bucks. That's if you have like, let's say 3 cups, 600 a day. You just think that I need it. And then in the end, oh my gosh, 600 pesos na pala on coffee. And then times, 5, right? 3,500. It's a lot. So what am I saying? When you are worrying about money and you look at your account and it's zero, you need to know where that goes. I'm not saying do it for the rest of your life, but try tracking your expenses for 1 week. And then you're gonna see na, oh my gosh, bumili na naman ako ng sapatos na white na hindi ko na naman kailangan. Like, I didn't
Yeah.
need this extra, right? Because once you're aware, then you can change the habit
Exactly.
and have your, financial
Yeah.
goals.
Honestly, going back to that, sometimes that step is the scariest step
Yeah.
that people don't want to do.
Yeah.
They're like, but ignorance is bliss.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
the moment I face it, I'm gonna have to do something about it, and I don't want to. And
Yeah.
this is the biggest thing that my
Denial.
clients like tell me, like, I just need someone to hold me accountable and let me face the reality, because that's the thing that stops them. They don't know that it's the problem.
Yeah.
They don't think it's a problem. So
Yeah.
like, why am I gonna look for a solution? So I think, like, jumping on what you said, like it's so important that you first have a clear intention of like, what makes this important for me to face it? Because if you just think like, oh, I have to track it, like nakakatamad talaga. Totoo nakakatamad siya.
Yeah.
And so it has, like, going back to the mindset of like, what's your intention behind doing it? Where do you see yourself 6 to 12 months from now, because you decided to face the spending problem, the too much cups of coffee and too much white shoes, right?
Yeah.
So that you get to feel like, hey, I deserve so much more than just the instant gratification.
Yeah. That's one thing, instant gratification. Another thing I think that Filipinos are very ingrained with in our culture, or something that is ingrained in our culture, is utang. Not only money, but also utang na loob and stuff. But utang is something within our society that is unspoken, but everybody kind of has this shame around it. Debt. Can you talk a little bit about debt and why we go into debt? What is good debt? What is bad debt? How do you manage pag may utang ka?
For me, it's like my regular programming. Like, I talk to my clients about their debts like almost every day. And they say that, like, I have no one to talk to about this. Like, I feel so much shame, guilt. Like, if they tell their parents, they're gonna be like, kasi, di ba yung typical Filipinos, like, sabi ko sa'yo, yung ganun. And I feel like first, that's number one, acknowledging the shame that you feel about. Because most of the time, when you ignore the shame, you ignore the debt. It's like, ay, wag na, like, basta ganyan. Oh, I'll give an example. Let's say, going back to like, it doesn't matter how much you earn if you don't know how to manage it. Like, I have a client who is an OFW, and she earns like probably triple than what she earned here. And then she's like, how come I'm still not clearing my debt? Like, I know my income can cover it, but I'm not paying for it. I'm still ignoring it. And it's because she keeps saying yes to all of her family's requests. She realized, like, going to it even deeper is that she's been constantly prioritizing others' needs above her own. So that meant, if may kailangan yung family, if may hinihingi yung mom, pag may hinihingi yung tao sa paligid niya, give. And she doesn't get to prioritize her debts because she has the mindset of, if I don't please my family, they won't love me. And so that's what I mean, like, it goes way, way, way deeper, that when she realizes, like, wait, that's the reason why I haven't been prioritizing my debt, because I keep prioritizing everyone's needs above my own.
So I want to add to what you're saying. You know, I work a lot with OFWs in Hong Kong, and I know their problems, and it's always may utang. A very scary statistic is OFWs who go to Hong Kong, pag umuwi sila to retire in the Philippines, mas marami pa silang utang. They have more debt incurred after working for 20, 30 years abroad when they come back. Why is that? Because OFWs, they're the most selfless people on earth. They give 90% of their salary to their family. Their family don't know how to handle money. Some people spend it on gambling, online gambling. Some people spend it on drinking. Just think about they aren't working. Yeah. So they receive this money. They're like, okay, what do we buy it with, right? So for OFWs who earn a salary, imagine they live apart from their family just to feed them. And then lahat ng salary, their entire salary, they give it to them. And then when they come home, sometimes they don't have a house. They have more debt than when they left. I always tell them, wag lahat ibigay nyo sa pamilya nyo. Not because hindi nyo sila mahal, not because you don't love them, but because you need to keep some things for yourself. There's this girl who went viral because 30 years she raised parang her nieces, nephews, put them all through school. Her whole family gave them money to have a house. And then when she retired, they left her because she had no more money. So she said, parang it was a big wake-up call for her because they just saw her as an ATM machine. So what's my point? Us Filipinos, within our culture, we are used to utang, we are used to debt. We are also so used to buy now, pay later. And that is a huge sickness because pag hindi natin afford ngayon ang something small, a dress, mahirap na mamaya, later. I understand though yung paluwagan, which is, paluwagan, it's like to help loosen, when people they put their salaries together. Parang ganun. What is it? How does paluwagan work?
I heard of this with the office mates of my husband, where like the office mates, they put like a pot of money.
Yeah.
And then they all decide like, hey, this person is gonna get that money this month.
Yeah.
Like
But then everybody has to give.
Yeah.
Every
like
month.
a pot of
Kung ganun.
money.
Sometimes people really need to loan, right?
Yeah.
Like, I know like someone, like her dad was sick. They need to do that. What's your advice for people? I mean, like what she said, it's a sickness. Is it really a sickness, or is there a way to like...
Well, first, in terms of the sickness, I think the sickness is that there is this mentality of Filipinos wherein I'm selfish if I don't give. Like, it becomes this generic statement rather than, what if I give based on what I can, right? So I think that's the sickness.
Yeah, I know that.
Of like, yung pagkamartir.
Yeah.
Because it all stems from generational trauma. Of like, oh, because that's what my parents did. They sacrificed to give me money, and now that I have kids, ganun din yung gusto nila. And so that's why it's really tough. In order for you to break the debt, you have to break the cycle. And it's gonna make people uncomfortable. Because they're like, what? You're not gonna give? Or, I mean, not gonna give entirely. Syempre, hindi. Like, you're gonna set boundaries, right? It's not like, hey, I want, you give. It's more of, hey, this is the budget I've set for the month. And so if that doesn't fit, then wait for the next month that I'm going to give. And it's gonna be so uncomfortable for the Filipinos who grew up not thinking that way. That I feel like is the bad debt that could be like that cycle if it's not addressed.
Yeah.
If the boundaries are not set. The good debt would be like being able to use it as to expand your business, right? Or like to own a
Yes.
property,
Okay.
things like that.
Or
And
buying a car for your work.
yes, yeah, exactly.
Because it's something
So
that
something
you need.
to lead,
Something-
something that leads to more.
Yes,
Yeah.
something that the
Possibility.
interest of what you will gain from it will out-earn the loan.
Got it.
Correct.
Yeah.
So in the case of like the hospital, that's bad debt, right?
I feel like it's
It's a life.
Yeah, it's life. Like, you be like, bad debt, di na pwede mangutang, and then mamatay.
Yeah, parang sama.
Yeah, so I feel like, I mean, it could go both ways. First, in terms of preparation for that, like when health things happen, emergencies. First is going back, you have savings set aside. And it goes back to like, that's why you can't give everything away. Because what happens when there's really a big emergency, health emergency, right? So that's one. And then second is, that's why you also can expect if for example, the sickness is not covered by the HMO or the health coverage. So of course, you're gonna
Yeah.
probably end up spending more than a million or
much,
something.
Yeah.
So you're gonna take a loan, and I feel like that's life that you wanna save. So I feel like you have to be prepared with those two things at least.
I will say that one of the things you need to recognize when you're adulting, let's say you finish college, tapos you take your first job, you need to have health insurance. That's my number one advice for young people because they always kind of ignore it. But when the time comes that something does happen, you will wish na
Yeah.
dun na lang mo nilagay yung pera mo. It's hard to see the value of it. You think na psh, like di ko naman I'm young, I'm strong. But if something happens, you want to have that health insurance that covers you. I just want to say every like 10 minutes Ava gets a call from a Grab driver for a delivery or Lala Move.
Wait, I'm sure it's not just me because everyone I know orders from Grab and does that. It just so happens when she's here, they all come on the same time.
It's
Like,
like,
they want to see you.
Jisoo fan po. And then, clear notebook case.
I do.
Oh,
But I
ano?
told you, I buy random stuff talaga ganun. But wait, I want to talk about what I feel like was the start of my financial awakening. I don't know how you call it, but when I was in college, my sister's making kwento, my mom and my dad are so completely different. My mom is super tipid. My dad is like spend. So for school, my mom would give us like 100 pesos allowance or something. We started at 20, it went up to 100 when we were feeling super baller na. My dad gave me a credit card when I was 15, and this was the time that I got to convince my parents to send me on a trip to Spain for like 6 months to just be with my friends and all of that. Anyway,
No, you lied. You said you would study Spanish.
I did.
And then when you came back, all she could say was like, I don't know, tengo
Hola.
hambre or hola. Like,
Still something.
No, because I realized it's, you know what, when you're in school, it's so much harder when you're out talking to people. You really learn. So, whatever. Anyway, my point is,
waiter.
Ang cute kaya ng mga
You
ano.
Spanish waiter.
But anyway, my
Gracias.
point is, when I was sent out into the world with a credit card, like my life changed because it came from, yun nga, 100 pesos trying to juggle that to buy everything I wanted to unlimited. I remember my limit was 500K. And
Oh my God.
I know, it was really crazy. Like, even my friend who was with me there was like, are you sure you want to buy that? But I didn't realize at the time. And it sounds stupid now, but at that time, I was just spending and spending. I was like, it's okay. It's fine. My dad would cover it. And I come back from this trip, and my bill was 400,000. And
What?
yeah.
I did not know this.
Yeah. My mom was so mad. My dad was so sweet because even if it was so big, and he couldn't even afford to pay it right away, he never gave me a hard time. So you can see the clear difference between my parents, right? Since that happened, my mom never forgot it. And like never.
That's what you get.
Even if she wasn't the one paying for it, she never forgot it for like the next 5-10 years. She's like, well, Ava doesn't know how to know her money. She doesn't know how to do this. And it really stuck with me because she gave me such a hard time. And every comment of my mom would really hurt me. I'm like, of course I know to handle money. Then I realized I really didn't because I wasn't earning money until like I was like 10 years later. And when I started earning money, did I start realizing, oh my God, when I see my credit card bill, the moment I have like 3K, I'm like, pay. Because back then, I didn't know the value of it. And parang I want to just talk about it because a lot of my friends have gone through that same kind of situation where they're giving a card and they didn't know. There are a few that know how though. I'm like, how did you learn how to do that? What's your advice for people like that?
I think that's interesting. I just want to point out like how much it affected you when you received that kind of comment about your spending.
Yeah, it really did.
Because I feel like that's number one in terms of we don't realize that the people that we care about, what they say, becomes our identity.
Yeah.
Because unconsciously, like, oh, I don't know how to handle money, then maybe I don't know how to handle money. Like, I remember even before for me, like, when my parents called me burara and clumsy,
Yeah.
I get so triggered.
My mom's like that to me also.
I get so triggered. It's like,
Yeah.
no, I'm not. Like,
Yeah.
growing up, you try to prove it, but then you kind of fall to what they think of you.
Oh my gosh, that's so true.
And so I feel like that's one thing of like, we don't realize that the dynamics with the people around us really affect how we also perceive money. For example, now you're like, if there's a credit card purchase, let me pay for that
Yeah.
right away. So it's kind of like making you feel a certain way because you don't want that to happen.
I get anxious when I see a card a bill that's really high.
Yeah, because it's very rooted to like a specific event or experience.
Yeah, I think it's that exactly that
Yeah.
experience.
And so that's what I mean, that when you have certain feelings or negative associations with money, it's rooted from very like
Dramatic.
events. For a normal person, like 3,000 lang naman yan. Why can't, it's fine, like you're gonna pay for it. No, I'm gonna pay for it agad.
Yeah.
Like in your case, right? So that's number one. It's really, and this is something that I love to do as a money mindset coach, is really digging deep into like, what are those events that shaped your spending or how anxious you are with your spending? Because from there, you get to first become aware of it. And then second is find ways to reframe what happened. So like in your case, it's like, oh, maybe my mom just didn't communicate well to me that she just wanted me to manage my money properly. Maybe she just didn't know how to communicate it then because she was concerned about me. She wanted me to do that. And I think I watched one of your podcast episodes with a fellow coach also, and she talked about like how important it is to reframe. So I also do like neuro-linguistic programming training and things like that. So that's one. It's really reframing, like what were those events from childhood growing up that really affected how I spend, so that now I can create more empowering ways to see it and therefore be empowered to actually use my credit card to my advantage. Like for me, I use my credit card for like 80 to 90% of my purchases.
Okay.
And I love it because I get points.
Yeah, I do love.
But
Yeah.
also because, but again, I'm going to add to what you're saying. Yeah, you get points, but that's also something that companies do for you to spend more. So you're like, sige, I'll get this big purchase because I get points, because I get miles. Just to add to what you were saying, Avs, your experiences as a child or as a teen growing up from your parents, what they tell you definitely imprints on you. It creates your identity. But there are some good things about it and there are some negative things about it. And one of the things I wanted to share was I actually had to see a therapist because nga, when I'd hear some things, I'd always fight it. And like you said, like say if mom says, you're not good with money, now you're an adult, you're 32, you have your own house, you have a full staff, you have a business, you are good with money. But in your mind as a child, my mom says I'm not good with money. That's why I need to pay my credit card. So one tool I will give to our listeners, which I learned in DBT therapy naman, is like sometimes our parents unknowingly imprint these things on us, right? But as an adult, you have the tools not to accept it. Okay, what does it mean? If mom was giving you a poison drink and says, "Hey Ava, you aren't good with money. Here, drink it." The cup represents her telling you that negative thing, which is you're not good with money, right? It's poison. Are you gonna drink it? If you know it's bad for you.
Obviously, no.
Obviously no, right? So I'm not gonna accept that. That is not a truth in my world because I am good with money, right? I'm not gonna drink this poison. Or I'm making it in a tangible form.
Yeah, I get it.
Right? So your parents sometimes unknowingly gives you that poison because that's just what they know. They're doing the best with what they know, right? And you as a child, you drink it.
Yeah.
But now that you're an adult, you're like, wait, no, I am good with money because I was able to build a house and I'm currently able to pay my bills, right? So everybody goes through that.
So,
And-
me like, mom, shut up. Just kidding.
my God. No, yeah, and no, it's something
No,
that we
that's
need to work
true.
on
That's so
because
true.
your mindset, you are good with money. You just need to reframe and also work on that relationship. You don't need to prove it to mom. You
I
need
think
to
it's proving.
You
It's
don't
a
need
lot
to
of
prove it to
Yeah.
mom. You need
Yeah.
to say it to yourself and say, no, I am good with money.
Yeah.
It's a relationship. And I feel that way too with different things.
To add on, I boil it down to like 3 things when it comes to if you want to break like a habit or a mindset around money, because I realized like the deep root cause either stems from an unmet need,
Yeah.
an unresolved desire, or a suppressed emotion. Usually if, for example, let's say I don't feel loved, so I buy stuff to make me feel that way. Or suppressed emotion of like, I became a breadwinner so early that I didn't get to take care of myself. Now that I'm earning, I'm going to
Shop or
shop
buy.
everything because I feel so resentful.
Yeah.
And I never told that to my parents because I have to be selfless.
Yeah.
Or like it could be an unresolved desire. Like for me, that's how it was.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't fulfilled in my career, so let me just justify the amount I earn to spend whatever I want. And so I feel like if there's anything that the viewers can take away is like looking into that. If I'm going through some money problems or am I spending too much or maybe too scared of spending my money, what is the unmet need, unresolved desire, or
Okay.
suppressed emotion that I'm scared to confront? Because that's what I mean. Like it goes
It's
way,
a
way
therapy
deeper.
session.
It is. And I think you constantly need to work on it. Hindi lang yung one time. For people listening, thinking, gosh, me and my boyfriend or me and my girlfriend or me and my partner have some problems with money, it's not the end of the world. Diba? Everybody has money problems, whether it's today, next year, or before. Everyone goes through it. It's how you go through it together. Before we wrap, what are your top 3 like kind of tips to people on how to bridge their financial differences or how to resolve these issues?
First, I think it's so important before you see yourself as a couple is looking at yourself in the mirror. Like, what do I need to change? What do I need to improve? Because most of the time, when you improve on that with your finances, your partner sees it. And then it's easy for the partner to follow. So like even for me, both me and my husband, we were both like shopping. Like it was so bad. Like if I were to be in Watson's, he had to like pull my hand the whole time. Be like,
Blinders.
Bako ano mga bilhin mo dyan, ganyan. Like he had to pull me away from Watson's because
Yeah.
it was that bad. When he saw me make that change of like, hey, I did the work to like not constantly just spend and whatever, he also saw that. I didn't have to tell him. He saw that I'm an example of that. And so he also opened up to conversations about money on how we could better work together as a couple to reach our financial goals together. So I feel like that's number one is how can you set as an example as an individual, because that will easily reflect to your partner. So I see it a lot with my clients where, for example, one person makes a change and then the partner says, how do you do that? How do you manage your finances? Like before, it used to be such a triggering topic. Like, I don't want to talk about it. Or like, why do you have to ask me so much about what I spend on? To like, hey, like, I want to help.
Yeah.
I feel, and for me, that's the most fulfilling thing that I get to see. When you hold yourself accountable first with what you want to change with your habits, with your finances, your partner will start asking questions of, I want to do that too.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's number one. And then second is really looking into, if you want to have a more empowering relationship with money, is looking at what are the concrete life milestones that I want to achieve in the next 6 to 12 months so that I align my finances to get there. Because most of the time, if you have no clarity on what you want, it's easy for the internet to tell you what you want. Hey, buy this. This is on sale. Tell me how I know, because I was that.
Yeah, 6 diba? 7 That's created
Double-digit
the hype
sales.
of
Yeah.
overconsumption and spending.
Yeah, and so that's why it's so important that you get to reflect within yourself, like what are my personal life goals and life milestones, and then let's share together as a couple. Let's sit down.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. And I love doing that with my husband because he knows like, oh, this is my priority. What are your priorities? What are our priorities together? So that now, talking about our finances doesn't feel like a scary thing, but it feels like an empowering thing for us to work on together.
Yeah.
And so when you're crystal clear about what you truly want out of life, you're going to be crystal clear on where your money is going to go.
Yeah.
So that's 100% what I always stand by. And then third is, I always say that no amount of money is going to be enough until you know how to manage it well.
Yeah,
right?
true.
I say more income means nothing. Quote me on that until I die. More income means nothing until you know how to manage it properly. With my clients, like, I earn double, triple, way more than what I started, but it's still the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how to save.
Paycheck.
I don't know how to spend properly, or I don't know or they could invest so much and then it turns into debts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I believe the foundational skill, if there's anything you want to start with, is making sure that you master the balance of spending and saving properly. People complicate it a lot na, I need to invest now, get that insurance right now. But like that all means nothing if you don't know how to spend and save your money first. Because it compounds eh. For example, like when I learned how to save, I learned how to invest. When I learned how to spend, I learned how to spend for me and my husband together.
Both.
In short, spend less than you earn.
That's true.
Yeah.
Wait, quickly, last. My husband always tells me when you earn money, put 10% in this, 20. Do you follow a certain like percentage in saving?
So I'm always controversial about that. I don't follow any strict budgeting rules because I've tried it. And I'm like, I don't like to be restricted, you know. So what I follow when it comes to like how much you save, you spend, and things like that, it's more of how you tailor fit it to your current life stage and life priorities. So for example, if someone who is living with their parents, who is just starting at their job, they could probably save like 60%. But then if you're a mom with 3 kids, probably you're gonna be
That makes sense.
saving less. But you're prioritizing your kids. You're probably like buying more of the things that would allow them to grow as better individuals, their education, their health. And so instead of looking at as strict
Makes sense.
percentages, looking at it as what is my life stage, life goal, and my current income, and how can those help me concretize for myself how much is enough to spend and save.
That makes much more sense actually, because I'm always like 10% tithing. Wala na ako. I can't even tithe.
Guys, do you know how much your husbands make or your partners make?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's a thing, right?
Yeah. I'm
You
always
have to
like,
know.
"Can I
No, you have
see?"
to know because some people
Yeah.
don't. They have no idea how much their partners make, and it's a sensitive topic. Again, it's taboo. When I was getting married, I remember one of my friends told me, who's been married for like 20 years. She said marriage is 99% about finances. The rest is easy, and I didn't really quite understand it. Obviously, my husband disagrees because he thinks in Asia all we do is talk about money, 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 and that's like in our dollar signs and stuff. But I think what she meant was once you nail the hard things, which is financial discussion, debt, your goals, where you want to be, the rest, allows you to have a more, I guess, fruitful relationship.
Smooth life.
Diba?
I can understand that.
That needs to be on a billboard somewhere. Because the moment that you solve all of your financial worries and problems, you solve 99% of your marriage problems. So I give an example with like my client wherein she's like, she's been a shopaholic and she's about to get married. And she's like, if I don't fix this now, we're gonna end up spending more than we want for our wedding. So when she was able to like really confront, those deep things about like, why am I spending, and being able to actually realize like, okay, now, di na ako madaling mabudol because I fixed that mindset, right? And then she went back to me and she's like, I'm so proud we had our wedding and we don't have any debts.
Wow.
Love that.
That's the best feeling.
Yeah, and I was able to say no to people knowing that I'm honoring myself and my husband.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then after that, so she's like, alam mo yung feeling na I see my friends after their wedding, they have so many debts after they can't
It's-
enjoy. But me and my husband, we're going to Vietnam, we're gonna travel.
I love
And then
it.
we're gonna plan like, I decided to take a hiatus for my career because I want to shift to a different career. Like, I was able to
Possibilities.
prioritize enjoying our life together and my personal pursuits because I fixed that before we got married.
I love
I love
that. Galing.
Galing.
It gives you a freedom.
Yeah.
Alam mo, and they also say it iba the way you sleep at night when you don't have that type of debt. Like,
That's
how do
why
you stay young?
when all the banks call me like, hi ma'am, you
Cash
a loan.
loan.
How I get them? I'm like,
Bye.
I'm so sorry, I can't sleep at night pag may utang ako. My husband's like, iba yung answer na yun. And they're always like, okay.
Yeah, it's true. It's true that there requires a discipline, and there requires a kind of awareness that you need to have. Because lastly, before we wrap up, why
Pang-apat na yun.
Dami na. Why do we want all these things? Why do we want a super nice watch, bags, shoes? It's because we want to signal that we're wealthy and we're happy and we're doing well to other people. But the truth is, other people are so focused on themselves and what they look at, they're not looking at you. That's just something to realize. In social media, we can get so caught up kasi trying to project a life that we can't afford. Trying to look rich and parang,
Anna Delvey. My God.
and then in the end, you're in debt and you're causing so much stress in your
Not worth
family
it.
or within yourself, which is more important, those people who are following you or who care. Who, diba?
Yeah.
Anyways, okay, that's it. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much, Nick.
Napa
That was
overtime tayo, but I think we need
very
another episode on
insightful.
money. But thank
Yeah.
you so much for all of your
Insightful.
insights.
I think I can talk about money I do talk about money every day.
Actually,
So
you do.
I'm
For a living.
always
I
here
have
for it.
money affirmation. I always tell myself I'm a money magnet. Money flows through me, and money just loves me. Like money just comes to me.
She named her other kid Money. Just kidding.
What? No, it's
Manny.
Manny. No, it's no. I really think that you have to have that positive
Yes.
relationship with it. diba?
Exactly.
Adrian thinks I'm crazy. I'm like, don't worry about money. It's okay. It's gonna come. He's like, where? Come from where? Anyway.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Nick.
Okay. Where can people find you if they're looking for, help?
Yeah, so you can find me at coachingwithnick.com or Coaching with Nick on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Like, I also have a free training right there. If you're like, wait, this hit me so hard, like, I want to learn more. I have a free training. I have so many, like, in-depth free resources on YouTube as well. And if they want to work with me, they can go to my website, coachingwithnick.com.
Coachingwithnick.com.
Yes.
And then how much do you charge? Oh,
It depends.
okay.
It's free, and daming free resources na
Because
nga,
I
so.
have one-on-one coaching and group coaching.
Okay.
So, because it depends if I have clients who want like a private space to really
Yeah.
dig deep, like as you can tell,
Yeah,
it's
of course.
very like a
Personal.
very personal, sensitive topic. So that's why I have one-on-one. And then group is like if you want to feel surrounded by community.
Yeah,
Got
that's
it.
great. Like, do that for a bachelorette. Have a session with
I
Nick.
love that.
Why not? And then talk about your financial questions.
I make it fun.
Yeah, and then
Yeah,
set a
that's
goal.
true.
I don't know. I'm just thinking it's different ways to celebrate and not just, spend,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Thanks,
Thank
Nick.
you.
Thank you so much, Belle and Ava.